As a primary school teacher, I have a few tricks up my sleeve that I love to incorporate into my parenting style because I know that they work at school, so they'll work here in the home environment. And having 4 kids in such a close age group, this strategy really does save my sanity. So if you want to know what it is, stay tuned for today's video. Give it a big thumbs up because it really does support my channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that bell so you get notified when we upload every Monday and Thursday. And let's get into cooperative play. If this is our first time meeting, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. My name is Beck and I'm a mum to 4. I have 2 boys under 2 and 2 girls who are currently 4 and 6 years old. And I am currently sitting in our playroom because I feel like it's a great spot to film this, because I'm going to be sharing how I am helping equip my kids to successfully play with one another. As a teacher, I would constantly be told when parents came in and I was teaching their second child that their kids were chalk and cheese. They were completely different, and I always wondered why that happened and would that happen with my kids, and the answer is yes. Amira and Zoe are polar opposites, and so far I would say that the boys are going to be different, but then I think the boys and the girls will have similar souls to each other, I guess you could say. And as the kids get older and they don't want to be bossed around by older siblings, their voices definitely get dominant and demanding and very loud, and there's a lot of mom, mom, and just the dobbing. And how do you get rid of that? How do you build independence in their ability to negotiate? How do you help them to cooperatively play together? And that's what the high five strategy is all about. I'll link a PDF that I've made in the description box below if you want to download it and print it out for your home or classroom. The high five strategy has been at every single school that I've worked in, and it is especially good in the playground because obviously ratio of teacher to students is quite large versus the classroom, and it's a simple 5-step process for kids to work through rather than constantly going to the adult as their first port of call. The first step is to talk friendly. I definitely see in my girls that they get very snappy quite fast and they talk very aggressively, and the word would be rude to one another. And it's a great reminder that what they can say, they can package in love. So we're going to talk friendly if something has happened and it doesn't sit well with us or we don't want to do it. And it's a really great first step for them to practice that we don't go from 0 to 100 and bite our sister's head off, that there is that first step, which is talking in love, and the person receiving those words are more likely going to cooperate because they're not being bossed around and they're not being yelled at. They're just being spoken respectfully and lovingly. So first step is to talk friendly. The second step is to ignore the behavior. So often we can get very tunnel visioned in when things go wrong and we want to hyperfixate on that. My kids do it very well. The second step really does remind them that they can control their body and nobody else, which means if someone is doing something that they don't like, ignoring it is a great next step, because most of the time that negative behavior that kids do to one another is attention seeking, and if you ignore it, it's kind of like putting a blanket over the fire. They're not getting that attention and it most likely could go away. But then this leads us to the third step, is to walk away or get some space. Obviously it's very hard in this playroom for the kids to walk away. They could go to their bedroom or they could come down to the lounge room, but if they're still wanting to play, there's not a lot of room here. It's very different to the playground where they could literally walk, you know, across the oval or to a different play area. But walking away is really good because, like I said, some negative behavior that kids do to one another is attention seeking, and ignoring it could actually aggravate the person. So getting some space is really good, and it also allows your child to do whatever technique that they need to do to regulate themselves, because they are trying to be respectful and peaceful, and walking away allows space. It allows them to stay in that water and not to climb up that volcano and just erupt on the person who is annoying them or hurting their feelings. You could even teach a child that in this time where they are walking away, removing themselves from that situation, that they could do some breathing techniques. Maybe they could go do a quiet activity, but whatever they do, it can't be done in an angry manner. For example, if my girls were to walk away from each other, they can't go into the bedroom and slam the door. That's not loving, that's not respectful. If they want to go into their bedroom, they can go in the bedroom, the door always stays open, and they can just sit on their bed and read a book. Something that could occur is that when your child then removes themselves and gets some space, that the child who was initially annoying them follows them. This is, you know, the next level where they are trying to poke and prod and just get a reaction, in which case the fourth step is to talk firmly. Now, my girls and I do a lot of role playing on what talking firmly looks like, because it's not being rude, it's not being aggressive or just disrespectful. You can be firm but gentle, just like we do in our gentle parenting with one another. So if someone was doing something and I really wanted to talk firmly, I would make sure that my face stays straight, because I don't want to be smirking, because then the person might think that it's a joke. And I'm wanting to keep my tonality quite flat. That way you can hear that I'm serious. When I'm talking friendly, I'm going to be going up and down my registers, I'm going to be sounding happy and light, I'm going to be using words like please and could you, and just making it really fluffy. But when I'm talking firm, another way that I say it to the girls is like, just lower everything down. I really need you to please go away, because I need to have some space right now and read my book. And that's a great way for them to just be gentle but firm and give their sibling the boundaries that they need in order to regulate. This then leads us to our fifth and final step, which is to talk to an adult. If the person is still annoying you or hurting your feelings when you've got into that step 5, then absolutely get help from your parent or from your teacher, because that person obviously isn't listening to what you're saying and they need that outsider perspective, and they might need it from that higher authoritative figure such as a parent or a teacher. I have laid some boundaries down in regards to when they can skip straight away to telling me. That's obviously if someone has gotten hurt, like they're bleeding or they have a broken bone, then absolutely come to me. The other thing that I've said with Amira, because she's the only child that I have who is at school, is if someone has hurt her physically or they are using really negative words. I'm not going to use the word bullying, because bullying has to be repetitive action over and over again. But say someone really said something rude, like they swore at her or they were just really derogative in their words, then that's when she absolutely needs to tell a teacher, because that child has purposely done that, which is just a no-go for her. She needs to know that she is valued and is loved and cared for, and having an adult at school can definitely help her with that. Obviously, our kids aren't going to do this perfectly. It's not a natural thing for them to do. And especially in our household, as every child gets that little bit older, their personality goes into the pot and it starts getting mixed around, and new modeling and scaffolding and role playing needs to get done. Because like at the moment, Phineas is getting to that age where he's incorporating himself into play, and Finn's voice and needs are just as important as Amira and Zoe's, even though Amira and Zoe are more articulate. It does take a lot of effort to put this into practice, and having the visual, especially having the picture cues, really does help the kids as a gentle reminder of their steps. And if, say, Zoe comes to us and she starts telling us a situation, I will remind her of the steps. Have you talked friendly? Have you ignored it? Have you walked away? Have you spoken firmly? Unless it's one of those things that, you know, it's a red zone and they come straight to me, I am guiding them through those steps, because sometimes they do forget, sometimes they have that emotional reaction and they're not going to logically think through it, and that's perfectly fine. That's why I'm here to guide them. But this really has helped our kids to negotiate one another, to listen to one another, and to just have fun cooperative play together. If you liked today's video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really does support my channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that bell so you get notified when we upload every Monday and Thursday. In the description box, I'll leave a link so you can access this PDF and print it off, put it up in your household, or even just have it on your phone as a reference point. Because this parenting gig doesn't come with a rulebook, we only have each other. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.